Hello, my name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk and thank you very much for pressing that play button. Today I want to invite you into the studio where we're going to be painting a seascape. Yes. So without further ado, very short introduction and I'll see you there at noise.
Hey, welcome, thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush.
And thank you very much for watching that introduction. Yes, so you've joined me here in the studio. That's fantastic. No, I've got a fantastic idea. It's been raining like you wouldn't believe here in Wales over the last few months. So, and I had a question on the Creative Art Group page, which is a Facebook page of mine. How do you paint rain? Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? But before we get on to the actual canvas, let's have a look at the paints I'm going to be using today. And as you can see, the colours are going up the right hand side of the table. Let's start it again, shall we? And as you can see, the colours are going up the right hand side of my desk in the orders that I've got them on the palette, hopefully, if I've edited it correctly. And never mind. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of a Mars black, I've got some titanium white, I got some CADMIUM red, some CERULEAN blue, Hooker's green and a bit of raw sienna. I got some zinc mix-in white, that's the white you want, the zinc mix-in white, there you go. Because we're going to be putting a wash on later on. Now, brushes. What are the brushes we're going to be using? We're going to be using a 1/2 inch grading shader brush. There we go. It's just a square basically with an angle on it. There you go. And as the standard brush that I normally use during the lessons is a 1 inch or a 1.5 inch short flat. That's putting on the skies. I've got a little number 2. That's a little rigger brush. I got a number 6 filbert brush. I got another little half a short flat or square. I've got a detail brush or a round brush, number 4. I've got a little scrubby brush. This is my favourite scrubby brush for doing clouds and stuff, yes. So I don't even know what size that was, but it's a scrubby brush. And I got a 0 round or detail brush. And I might add an odd brush to the selection, but that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm putting 4 or 5 squirts of my medium mix of flow improver into my pot there. That's my medium mix flow improver. I'm going to be using my fine mist bottle. During the lesson I'm just going to thin that down roughly about 20%, and that's it. So let's have a look at the canvas. The canvas we got today is I'm just going to measure it because I forgot, is a 24 by 20 canvas, and I want to put an horizon line down, and I don't want to go exactly half. So this is approximately, I said 20 inches. So let's go about 8 inches. There we are. Let's go about 8 inches down. Got about 8 inches down. There we go. And let's very quickly draw a very light line across there like that. Okay, so once we've done that line, what I want to do now is introduce you to some masking tape. This is painter's tape. It's low tack, yes, so it's not going to pull off your canvas. And I've been asked questions about this. If you're not sure whether it's low tack, it's just decorator's tape. We need to put an horizon line. So let's get a bit off. I know what I tend to do is stick it onto my shirt or my apron or whatever. Get a little bit of fibres on there, and that becomes low tack. So don't go spending money on low tack stuff. If you've all you can get is your hands on is the normal stuff, just get that and stick it onto your apron or your pinny or your t-shirt or your denim trousers or whatever you want to do, and it's going to pick up some fibres, and then it's going to do exactly the same job. I'm just going to push that edge down a little bit with my fingertip like that. This has been pre-primed, double primed canvas with gesso. People have asked me why is there any need of gesso. I'm not going to answer that today because it takes up too much time. Please press the iCards. That's going to take you into a playlist of what the gesso. Now, picking up my little square, my short flat, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of gesso. Why gesso? Well, because it's not as strong as Done it again. How many times have I done that? It's not as strong as a titanium white. If you use titanium white, it tends to be a little bit too slick and it dries too quick. With gesso is more. I have to get another brush. And I've been asked why I use gesso instead of titanium white. Can you use titanium white? Well, you can, I suppose. One, it's very expensive. Two, it's going to be slick because it's going to dry with a sheen. So there's a possibility it's going to cause trouble with your other paints applications. This is more of a primer. It's designed for that. So if you can get gesso, please get gesso. It just saves a lot of time and a lot of hassle. And that's what we use. And it works. So I'm just going to apply a really nice liberal coat of gesso over the canvas. Please go into the gesso playlist. That'll explain things in a little bit more detail for you, because I haven't got time to talk about that today because I want to get on to the lesson, and I do tend to waffle a bit, so I'm trying not to waffle too much today. There we are. So we're just going to apply that in a nice even manner. Once it starts to drag again, remember what I've said, reapply. And this is where our fine mist bottle is going to come into it in a minute. We need to keep this working. Yes, you can use my blending white for this. It does keep the canvas open a bit longer, but it is available. There are lessons there again in the iCards that will show you how. And if you want to go into the Bob Ross playlist, that's going to show you more, because that's where I use it mainly, is on those type of paintings. It's only fair for me to show you this technique for these lessons, because this is all you might have, and if you haven't got the blending white, then you're not going to be watching the lesson. So I've got to try and literally share it about a bit. So if you want to know what the blending white does, how it works, please go into the Bob Ross playlist. That's going to be in the top right hand corner of the screen, and that'll explain things in a bit more detail. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to mist that down with a very fine atomizer spray. This is not a squirty spray that you will find. It's not a spritzer spray. A spritzer tends to put out too big a particle of moisture out, and it tends to splatter more, where this is more of a fine atomized mist. And you can buy these in art and craft shops, or you can go along to the website and purchase one. It's entirely up to you. So we just need to make sure that's nice and moist. There you go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up a little bit of Ceylon blue. I'm going to mix up with there. I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white to it. Straight on the same brush. I want that a very, very light blue. I'm going to pick up a bit of black, and I want to make that grey colour. I am following a reference photograph that I took down the beach on this rainy day, and it was a very, very dark, dirty looking type of sky. So I want to try and emulate that if I want. So I've just put some Ceylon blue, thinned it down with a little bit of white, or changed its value with a bit of white, added a bit of black, turn it into that little bit of a grey type of shade. There we are, and I'll get the colour I want. There we are. And I'm going to start into this top corner, and I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to go all over the canvas with that. Now as this goes on, it's actually going to mix in with that white gesso, so it's automatically going to lighten and change value. So we want to try and keep that. I want an area there that's quite dark, so I can come in later on and darken that area up, but for now I just want to get this over the surface of the canvas. Bit of squirt, yes, bit of squirt. Top corner again, I want that a little bit darker. I'm leaving some white spots here and there, like as if it's, I don't want to cover it all in blue, is basically what I'm saying. I'm picking up a little tiny touch of red little tiny touch of red in that one corner there. A little tiny touch of red. I don't want to contaminate all our paint. Went a bit overboard there, Clive, with the paint, with the red. If you put too much in, sometimes you can spoil it. So a little bit of white, a little bit of black. Get that purpley looking colour. There we go, that's the colour I wanted. And then let's just put a bit of that down there, just to give a little bit of warmth to the sky. There we are, mix that in a little bit here and there. There's a little bit of warmth coming through. Wiping my brush off onto some kitchen roll, going back into the light colour, and then here and there, yeah, then here, just blending that in like that. Back into this colour, this corner, sorry, there we go. Putting our brush straight into some water. I'm picking up my blending brush. There you go. And this is a pony hair brush which I bought. This is a natural bristle brush. It might shed, so it might shed, but what we're going to do is going to very lightly go over and hardly touching this canvas now. I'm just caressing this paint, just blurring the paint together, just blurring the paint together. I want to get that lovely grey, blue, horrible looking, rainy type of sky there. And this is what the type of skies they look like in Wales. And we do get quite a few of them. I'm sitting on a funny angle, as you know, when I'm painting these videos. And I love painting when I'm not videoing, because I can just sit and relax, and I can sit where I want and not worry about cameras and things. It's a fantastic way. So you can see those light spots. I've automatically got those in place there. I'm going to chuck that straight into the wash, into the water. What's the matter with my teeth today? They're all over the shop. And that's all we need to do with that, really. We need to get the hairdryer on that now. So I'm going to dry that. And as you know, if you painted with me before, we check that with the back of our finger. So let's look at our palette. Let's go back in. Let's make a little bit more of this blue. Let's add a little bit more Ceylon blue. Let's bring a little bit of white back into that. Let's get that down roughly to the same value. What I mean value is the lightness of that actual colour. So try and get that to the colour we had before. A little bit of black. We added a bit of black to that. There we go. I want it a slightly darker colour. Not too much, and we can test that. There we are, a little bit darker than that. Add in a little bit more of my medium mix flow improver. My medium mix flow improver is basically a medium that I've come up with myself, and it's got polymer resins and stuff like that and all the other ingredients into it, and just allows the paint to actually stay open a little bit longer, not a lot, just a little bit longer, but it also allows me to thin that paint as thin as I want it, because there is a rule as far as over thinning paints are concerned. So I'm making a bit of a thinner wash now with that. Taking the excess off my brush, I'm going to try that in that corner. There you go. It's just a very thin wash, and I'm lightly just brushing this in like that, and I am trying to follow the photograph that I took. If you find this a little bit sticky, moisten down the canvas, and then what you'll find then is that I'll actually blend in quite nicely like that. So just darkening that corner up a bit there, like that, and then bring that down there and just get that a bit thinner. There we go. Some artists use a thicker paint than I do. I quite like a nice thin painting technique. In this particular type of painting, this style of painting, I quite like a thinner more of an oil wash type of effect, you'll find that a lot of my paintings that I will actually, you'll find that I actually put a very thin wash over. There you go. I want to darken that edge up a bit. I want that to come down here a bit more as well. Actually, I think I'll go right down to that corner there. I wanted a nice gloomy day. There you go. These washes are fantastic. I call them washes, you can call them glazing. If you're using a glazing medium, that's a gloss glazing medium or a matte glazing medium, you can glaze with this medium mix formula as well. So it allows the paint to dry in its natural way rather than go glossy or too matty. If that makes sense. Either glossy or too matty. I'm just washing my brush very quickly. Just using the moisture that's on the brush now just to blend in this edge like that. Have I got a bit of, there you go. Now there's that purpley colour, a bit of that purpley colour back up across the top there. I'm just going to bring down a couple of lines now, very very thin line. I'm using the where the brush is naturally parted. I don't know if you can see how the brush is naturally parted. I'm going into a little bit of paint, not a lot, just on those edges there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to very lightly pull down like this, just to get that across that top edge a little bit darker. Scrubbing the brush in a little bit more, just to get those lines not to be so sharp and defined, but you can see the lines that are developing now on there, and it just looks like that. I don't know if you've seen that, but you can actually see the rain physically fall in sometimes. Be very careful you don't overload this brush for this effect. But leave that area there. Don't put any lines there, because it is going to slightly draw your eye, because that's in the distance. That's when it's not raining. But for now, we want this looking like as if we got a bit of rainfall there, and it's quite a horrible, gloomy old day. And this is quite a way in a distance, this mind. Leave a little gap, don't go all over, just occasionally just show a couple of lines like that. And alternate between the purple and the blue, just get a little bit of contrast coming in. That's all you need to do for the moment. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to clean my brushes, I think. Okay, so I just dried that off. I hope I dried it off enough. And remove your masking tape now, and always pull downwards like that. Because if you pull up, it could peel a little paint, because that's quite thick on there. But what we do then is we discard of that. We got a lovely straight horizon line. Yes, nice. Okay, so what I want to do now is I'm going back into that short flat again, that number 1 inch that we put the sky on. I'm just going to use the same paints A bit lighter now. Right, I'm going to put a bit thicker paint. I want a bit thicker paint this time. I don't want this so thin, but I still want that little grey, dirty greyness to it. Now where I live, which is in Wales, the sea is not any particular colour. It's more of a, it's very grey, very green, and I put a little bit of green in with that, just to give that little bit of a sea look to it. There you go. And just a little bit of tinge of green, and then it's going to take a little bit of a mix just to get this to colour the way you want it. I'm trying to match the colour that I can actually see on my photograph. There you are. Well, you get there now. And sometimes you just got to play around until you find the colour that you can see or you can visualize in your mind. So don't stress too much about it, just play. Because it's a distance, we need to get this a little bit lighter. So let's just go in that one corner there. Touch more black to that. And I'm only using a very small amounts of black. There you go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try that. That's quite dark, as you can see. That's quite dark. That's too dark. So let's lighten that right down. Again, washing my brush. Not washing my brush, picking up a bit of medium mix, sorry. And let's see how that looks. Still dark. It's surprising how dark this is, and don't forget acrylic paint dries a lot darker when it dries. It dries about 2 shades actually. And for the sake of it, I'm just going to go along with that now. I'm going to try and get that nice straight. I don't smart with my teeth today. I'm going to try and get that nice straight edge there now. You could put the actual masking tape the other side of this if it's dry enough, but I'm not confident enough that that's too dry, so I want to try and get a nice sharp edge there. So what you could do is put the masking tape up there now and then paint to that line, but because that's what I would normally do if I had time and allowed this to dry for 10 or 20 minutes just to make sure. But because I haven't done that, I'm just going to take a chance and get that as sharp as I can. But try and keep this line as crisp and clean and as sharp as you can get it. There you go. Bring a bit of moisture into that. There we go. You can add a bit of white into that now, just to lighten it. There you are. I'm going to bring a bit of raw sienna now to there, bit of white. I haven't cleaned my brush, I'm just using the brush as it is. I'm bringing some raw sienna in, and I'm just going to bleed that through like that. A bit more raw sienna. Oops, I went in a black. Okay, we'll keep that one colour, we'll keep that. Let's start again. Raw sienna, white. Raw sienna. Touch of black, because we mixed black with it, so. Corner there. You can see I'm not going on too thick with this paint. I just want colours at the moment. Going in a bit more black now. Darkening a couple of areas here. Okay, I'm going to switch over to another short flat again. Let's use this one. Just short flats. Let's pick up some raw sienna. Straight raw sienna now. You can see raw sienna is quite transparent. I'm going to get a bit more of that onto my palette. Okay, so I've done that. Let's get a bit more raw sienna. Straight into raw sienna now. I'm not adding any water to it. I just want that raw sienna look. And as you can see, it is quite transparent. So it's going to pick up that whiteness from the canvas. And as you know, if you've painted with me before and you painted with other people, acrylics tend to go through a very, very ugly stage. So it's just a matter at this particular moment in time is just getting some colour, blocking out that white of canvas, and then just getting this colour on there. And getting a little bit of shape. Now what I mean by shape is you could see things, like I could see something but there. So I'll tend to see these shapes and just emphasize them a little bit as I'm painting, because that could be a little bit of a, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know, I'll work it out when I get there now. Bring a little bit of blue into that. A bit of raw sienna. Touch of black, and that's it. And a bit of a greeny type of the blue and the raw sienna, because there's a lot of yellow in raw sienna. If you add a bit of blue to it, it'll tend to go more on the green side. So remember that. Let's get a bit of raw sienna in here. Let's get a bit of light coming in there. Let's get a bit of white. I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm not cleaning my brush. Scrubbing in a little bit of white here and there and there and here and everywhere. This is still wet, as you can see, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up some white and I'm going to scribble in straight on top of that paint with titanium white. I'll sort that out in a second. getting my paint onto my brush and trying to get it to a nice sharp edge if I can. Might have to change my brush because it looks a quite scraggly old one, this one. I'm just pulling through some scagging marks like this. In fact, I am going to change that brush, and I'm going to find a nice sharp brush. That's not going to be good, but yeah, I just picked up a little square or short flat. That's a number half inch actually. I don't know why they keep changing these. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I just put. And just continue to do that. Go down that edge. I want that edge to disappear into the skyline. Try and get rid of that edge. This is still wet. This is still wet. So if you're quick enough, you can blend in with the paints very, very quickly. Now, one of the reasons that is still wet is because I'm using my medium mix formula, and that does tend to keep the paints open. It wasn't planned that way. It was just one of those things that have happened, and I found out that it does tend to keep the paints open. Now I'm talking too much now. I've gone and ruined that by there now, so we will recover that in a minute. I'm going to need to wait for that to dry, and I can paint over that later. Okay, very, very forgiving acrylics are very, 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 very giving. Okay, let's just put some lines in there like that. Oops, there's a big clump of paint. Contamination and celebration. Dee, 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 dee. Using the brush like that on an edge, and then just putting a couple of little patterns in. Don't think it's like clouds. If I was going to give you any advice over the years, is not to think too much. Let the paint just flow. When we're doing waves and things like this, what we're looking for is a natural flow of look. So sometimes it's just let these things do. Let these things do what they want to do, and you'll find that you'll get these shapes without trying too hard. You'll get these shapes without trying too hard. And very lightly now, just dry brushing in a little bit of this, because I wanted to look. The beach is going to be wet. It's raining, so the beach is going to be wet. So this is sand when I'm painting now, but at the end of the day, it is wet, so it's going to reflect light, and this is what we've got to. This is what we've got to try and emulate. Then another bit of contamination. There we are. So let's wash that brush. I'm going to dry that now, and I'll show you how to correct that area then. And dry this. And dry this for a good 5 to 8 minutes to make sure that, because there's quite a lot of layers there, we need to make sure that this is really, really dry, and then we can go and correct that horizon line a little bit then as well. So I've dried that off, and it's been about 10 minutes, quarter of an hour. I made myself a nice cup of tea, and I wanted to give it a chance to dry off, so give it a little bit of time. I want to correct a little bit of this now. So I've been asked about, I do a lot washes and things like that, and I've been asked about how you actually prepare that, and you've seen me doing it on the wet palette itself. But I thought today I'd show you something slightly different. So let's put that on the top. Get a little tin or something like that. This is an Indian pot who's got the 2 handles on it. So I bought it from a charity shop and snapped the handles off, and I got several of these little pots there, and I use them quite extensively doing my other paintings. So I put about a couple of mils of water. There we are, a couple of mils of water in there like that. I'll give a little squirt then of my medium mix flow improver, maybe another one, Clive, yeah, another 2 actually. Let's put another 2 in there, and then I'll get a brush and I'll mix that up. So that's fine. That's about all the liquid that I need in there. Now to that, I'm going to get some of my zinc mixing white, and I'm going to put in about that much, as a little amount as possible really, and I'm going to mix that in now very well with my brush. Make sure there's no lumps. Make sure that's all mixed in. There you go. So just mix that then with a little bit of water. Get it nice. You want about 80% fluid to about 20% paint. And once you've done that, you could suck that up. If you got an old a syringe, you know, a needle type of thing, you can buy them online. You can buy them readily actually, without the actual needle on them, just the syringe part. You could suck that up and put a little bit of blue tack or something on the end of it, and that would stay fine, and then you could just squirt it back out when you needed it, or put it in a bottle or something like that. So that's the wash. That's all I'm going to use, that wash, and then just apply that onto the painting, reapplying. Now if you've made it a little bit thin, add a little bit more paint. Get it to the consistency that you want. Now you want to come up to about there on the sky. You don't want to lighten it too much, but you want to lighten that horizon up. And this is a good way, if you've done the horizon too dark, you can actually lighten it off. You can do that with any landscape, and I suggest that's a quick fix. And sometimes I just do it anyway, because I like to knock things back into the distance and maintain that strength of colour, but I can lighten it this way rather than keep adding white and things like that to it on my palette. So I will tend to knock back an area this way, like that. And we can always add a few more rain lines in later on. Just keep doing that. I just want to fix that one little bit there because I'm not happy with it, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit of titanium white. You don't have to do this because you wouldn't make the mistake like I've just done, and I'm just going to basically sharpen that edge up. And what I suggested was reverse the masking tape, so you'll have this nice sharp edge. But acrylics are very forgiving, so they do allow you to change certain things, so that's fine. That's a nice back into that. You don't want it too light, but you want that. There we are. Let's put that there, safe. If you're if you dried this and you know it's dry, you can lift a little bit of that off with just a little bit of dry tissue paper if you come down too far. Now you can do this with any colour. If you want to put a wash of colour over or something like that, you can do this with any colour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to strengthen that up a little bit. The same wash, I'll put the wash there we are. I'm going to strengthen this wash up now a little bit more with some more zinc mixing white. So I'm making it a thicker wash. by adding just a little bit more zinc mixing white. And don't throw this away. If you want to keep it, you can put it in a little container or something, and you've always got your wash then. I tend to throw things away. I shouldn't really. And I'm going to put a little bit more lightness there, like that. I'm going to bring that across there and bring this down then, like that. And then wiping my brush completely dry, or as dry as I can get it with some kitchen paper. And I'm just going to smooth all that in nice. And we can add a little bit more colour into that sea in just a moment. But as you can see, it's quite nice. There you go. And again, dry that off with a hairdryer. I use a hairdryer more than my wife. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick up that half short flat again. I'm going to pick up a little bit of moisture. Just move my gesso pot. Let's chuck my gesso pot away. I don't need that. I'm going to thin down my raw sienna very thinly. And you can do this, as I said, with this medium mix formula. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of raw sienna, like that. I'm not too sure how far this sea is coming up. I think it might be going out, I think. So, or coming in, and one of the two. So I'm going to put a little bit more raw sienna there where I think the sand is going to be. And as it comes forward, we can just darken that up. I use a bit of this colour. I'll just darken that raw sienna up a bit. There you go. Just a bit of a darker areas here and there, like that. Using a brush like that, scrubbing that brush in, just trying to get a couple of pockets of. Don't forget it's raining. Trying to get a couple of pockets of. Right, let's get some raw sienna there. Let's mix a bit of blue with that. Mix a bit of green with that. Mix a bit of black with that. There you are. Get some shadows in here now. Raw sienna. Bit more green now. Let's put a bit of green, but there let's put a little bit of light, lighten it up a touch. Just darken it off with a little bit of black. There you go. Just play around with some lights and some darks and some colours that you think there's going to be. As I said, I'm following a photograph, so let's get some just dark shapes in there, like that, like as if it's some rocks or something, I don't know. Just scag that through like that, like as if some, maybe some rocks here and there. Let's get a bit more raw sienna. Would I class this as a beginner's lesson? No. This is more like intermediate or whatever you want it to be. But it is a good method to actually try and... It's a good lesson, I should say, to actually try and get your skills at different levels. And it's important that we do that. I'm just going to re-emphasize that in just 1 second. So I'm going to pick up... Okay, I had a bit of contamination on the palette, so I added a bit more white. Let's bring a bit of this blue colour into that. Bit of moisture. I want to lighten this area up now. I'm doing is just scagging a little bit of white paint and lightening this corner up even more so now. And just want that to be a lot brighter. There. Let's just take that. Let's just take that across there like that. Okay, I'm just going to put that brush one side. I'm going to pick up a detail brush. Oops, that's zinc wicks in white. There's one zinc wicks in white. And I'm just going to put in some breakers now. It doesn't flow. Use a little bit of moisture on your brush. So all we're going to do now is bring in a few breakers, like as if they just, the sea is just coming in. That's going to be too bright for there to worry too much about, because there's going to be a lot of rain there in a minute. It just looks like as if there's a bit of foam patterns. I'll come in with a little bit of shadows in there in a minute. So let's put a very, very lightly now, just drag your brush across like that. A little bit of tiny little bit of paint here and there. Just make it look as if it's wet and reflecty. Reflecty. You know what I mean. Okay. So I just picked up my big brush again, this 1 inch. I'm going to go into some more raw sienna. And now, very, very lightly, I'm just going to darken this area down. Very, very thin coat of paint. Don't forget, this is like sand that's really wet. It's reflecting light. You've got all these lovely colours of the sky. You've got the colours of the sand coming through. You've got all these different things going on there. So this is the type of effect you want to try and get on you. If you're unfortunate enough not to haven't been to the beach or don't know what the beach looks like, as I know it depends on what part of the world you are. I know that is a possibility. Just try and find a reference photograph if you can. I'm just adding a bit of black now into that colour, and I'm going to go back in, and I'm just going to put little tiny circle marks in like this, like as if there's bodies of rocks and whatnot. You can pick up a little bit of highlight colour on those if you wanted to. Let's just bring a little bit of white into that one corner. Let's make it a bit of a contrasty colour. Let's bring a bit of light in there. Let's add a bit more white to that. There you go. Just a couple of little whatnots here and there. Just make it look as if there's something going on. Let's get a bit of blue, maybe. Let's bring a bit of blue in there. Yeah. Let's make that more of a feature there. And just play, use your imagination, and if, as I said, if you haven't got a reference, use your imagination. Think of shadows as well. And that's another thing you've got to do, is think of shadows. And the further you stand back at this, you'll see this will look a lot different. And let's put let's put a rock or something there. A couple of rocks here and there, like that. Okay, let me have a think. What we could do now is get our very, very small detail brush. Again, go into that colour. Now we could, here, we could put a little circle. A little line like that. Somebody bending over. There's a reference of a dog or something. We could have just little dots like that, really. Just little dots like that. Actually, we can make them a bit bigger, couldn't we? There you are. Don't overthink this. I'm going to try and keep them on roughly on the same line. So let's put dog there. Put a dot there for the head. Don't rush this. Don't rush this. And he painted matchstick men and matchstick cats and dogs. Doodle 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 doodle. And carrots. That's all they are. Little tiny carrots. Oops, too much paint. Be very careful when you do this, you don't want to put too much paint on. Let's get a bit of white paint on your brush. Let's just put a few. Water lines in like that. Strengthen up this line of surf. Yes, sometimes I don't talk much because I concentrate too hard. It's always been my problem. Sometimes I talk too much, sometimes I don't talk enough. Let's put a few light spots now. Just using the same brush, just thinning down my paint a bit and just picking up some just little reflections in on the water because it is raining. Don't touch the canvas with your finger, but it doesn't matter. Don't tell anybody I told you to do that. Yeah. Let's get a little bit of thin paint. Few seagulls in. Get a little bit of white paint now on your brush, and then just touch them a little tiny little bit with some white paint, just to make it look as if there's some look of a seagull about them. There we are. Very subtle. Very subtle. There you go. And play around a little bit. Don't rush these things. There you go. Okay, now one last job to do is let's get a bit more raw sienna on my palette. There you go. I'm going straight into neat. I'm going to brush this straight in like this because it's quite dark there. And now I'm going to let's get some dark into this corner. I'm just going to darken this corner up a touch like that with any colour I got there. Really, I just don't mind. I'm just going to use the colours I got. I want a bit of green come in here now like that. And there's reasons why I'm doing that. I want a little bit of green there. Because there's where I live, not far from where I live, there's a place called Puthcall, Call, and Merthyr Mawr. There's sand dunes and things. So you've got areas of sand, like the sand dunes. You've got areas of grasses and all these different types of things. It's a bit light, doesn't matter, we'll sort that out in a minute. It's talking too much again, Clive. Let's put some thicker paint on that. Yeah. Let's just pretend that's just catching the light a bit there. Well, let's just correct that a minute. It's a bit of black, it brings more in over there. Let's bring a bit of black in. It's better. I'll do. Don't worry if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. These things happen. These things happen. And this type of painting is all about being loose and free and having fun anyway, so there you go. And I don't panic, I don't rush, I'm quite enjoying this today actually. This is a nice lesson. I've been wanting to do a seascape for quite a while. Let's get that ready, sandy type of colour coming down like that now. Let's just get a bit of a hilly thingy there. Hilly thingy, hilly. I don't know. Oh, we do like to be beside the seaside. Oh, we do like to be beside the sea. Let's get a bit of colour in there. There we are. I'll come evident in a minute. Okay, so all we got to do is get our strip liner brush, some raw sienna, some white, thin it down, let's get, oops, that's not very thin, what's wrong with that? Not having a very good day today, must be a gremlin in the studio today. some we got some going this way as well. The wind is blowing, looks like the wind is blowing this way, so these are going to be moving that way. Put a few in. And if you've never painted with me before, please like, comment and subscribe. Please share my videos where you can, because that's very important that you try and you share my videos for me, because that's good, because everybody gets. There might be a lot of people out there that don't know I exist, and I'm also certain that is a fact. So what I'm doing is just put in some grasses like this. Don't worry too much about that at the moment. I'm just putting this particular colour in, and there we go. Let's put. Just thin that down a bit more. There you go. Wash that brush very quickly. Going into my shading brush now. I'm going to pick up this green and just add a little bit of white to it. I should put a little bit of green there, like that. We got this, I forget what they actually call it. It's a horrible, like pricky bush, and it's got yellows, or it's got yellow little flowers on it. It's a gauze bush, I think it's called, and that's what I'm trying to do with this now. Is I'll put a couple of little gauze bushes there like that. So basically, to try and draw your eye in a little bit like this. I'll put a couple of little yellow flowers and that on there in a minute, and then let's just balance it off with a little bit of grass. Let's put a bit of there you go. Put a few grass clumps here and there. Get a bit of this. Let's go into some dark colour now. Let's add a little bit of black to that, and then the same thing. Let's put a few branches and twigs and things into there. Let's pull in some colours there. Let's do the same over here. Let's pull in a few. Darker ones like that. In fact, I think what we could do is let's darken that area up a bit there. Like that. And just use your imagination. If you see something and you don't like it, change it. Change it, that's important. You might, sit back and you think, no, I don't like that. I mean, we need to put something else in there. That doesn't look right. So, just what I try to show you is a method. You change it. If you're not happy with it, change it. Acrylics are very forgiving. Very forgiving. And let's add a little bit more white to that. I want to brighten this up now. If it doesn't flow, add more water. That's all you need to do. It's like building up hair. If you want to do bits of grass like this, you need a couple of different flavors. You need that change of color to get it to look right. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of one or two little bits like that. Now I haven't got any yellow, have I? So I'm gonna sneak a bit of yellow onto my palette. There you go. So don't worry too much about that. It's only a little touch because I decided I wanted to put some gorse bushes in, and gorse bushes got little yellow flowers on them. Now, you might not have gorse bushes where you live, but where I live these are, and this is a beach not far from where I live, and it's called Ogmore in South Wales, Ogmore Beach, and it's not far from Merthyr sand dunes. And in the summer I'll take the camera out and we can do some photographs. Maybe you want to put maybe a little bit of red now, just here and there, like as if it's tiny flowers. I'd be surprised a little bit of red like that will actually draw the eye in. What I want to do now is go back to our brush originally that we used. I think it was this one. Drying it off. Let's go into some white. Let's move that out the way. Let's put some white there. Just go through very, very lightly with our blue. Again, taking the excess off your brush, breaking that brush up. Remember, we've done the light, the rain, and let's put some rain in now. It's a really heavy downpour today. very, very lightly. Very, very careful with this because you can spoil this so easy. What I'm trying to show is raining in the foreground now, which is not easy because the rain moves so fast, but you don't want to spoil your painting by doing this. But pick your place where you can put these little lines in. There you go. And then it looks as if you got a little bit of movement just over the foreground, a little bit like this. Very careful. Don't be very, very careful doing this. Be very careful. I hope you can see this on the camera. Be very, very careful you don't go over wet paint. And then just very, very quickly just here and there, like as if it's, you can see it falling because it's moving. It's like having a slow shutter speed on the camera, and that's all I can suggest you can do to show movement of rain in a painting. The thicker line here is more in the foreground, as you can see it starting to rain. They push further back, and to actually get that movement of rain, you need to think about photography and about slow shutter speeds and things, and just get that positioned little blur mark coming down through. And there's Ogmore Beach. See what I did there? I picked up a bit of wet paint. So what we need to do is get a brush very quickly, go into some clean water. Get some brush, get very, very quickly, get in clean water. Bit of tissue paper. Wash it away like that. There you go. So be very, very careful when you're doing that. And all I can suggest is, that's the only way I know of actually doing free falling rain. There you go. And all it remains me to do today is get my strip liner brush and say thank you much for joining me on this lesson. This is a painting of a local beach, Ogmore, down in South Wales. And today I'm going to sign my name just in here. You can sign your name any way you want, doesn't matter. So thank you very much for joining me on this lesson. My name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk. Have a go. This is a little bit more advanced than a beginner, but have a go and play with colour. That's the most important thing. So God go with you. Have a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year, because I'm not sure exactly when you're going to be watching this. And please like, comment and subscribe. Please leave your comments in the comment box below. Please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate every single comment, and I will get back to you. Might take me a bit of time, but I will get back to you. Please have a go. This is rain falling on Ogmore Beach in South Wales. So my name is Clive from clivesart.co.uk. Nice.
Hey, welcome, thanks for stopping by. It's time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time. And don't forget to click subscribe. Visit clive5art.co.uk.